Total Retail's sister brand, Women in Retail Leadership Circle, is proud to announce the release of the 2020 Top Women in Retail Report. The 10th annual list features 36 top women and Women on the Rise honorees, representing the leading women executives in retail today. Download your copy of the 2020 Top Women in Retail list today at mytotalretail.com/resources. Women in Retail Leadership Circle members can access the report by logging into their account at womeninretail.com/research.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi, I'm Joe Keenan of Total Retail. I'm here at the NRF Big Show in New York. I'm joined by David Pisker, who is the General Manager of Customer Experience and E-Commerce at Officeworks. We're going to talk to them a little bit about Officeworks' partnership with Kepler Analytics. So thanks for joining me, David.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
So a good place to start. Let's tell our audience a little bit about Officeworks for those that might not be familiar with it.
Sure. Officeworks is a big box office supplies retailer in Australia. We have 167 stores and a large online presence. We sell solutions to our customers across office supplies, technology, print and copy, furniture, and business services.
So as I mentioned, you're working with Kepler Analytics, and you mentioned the big box store, so obviously a number of physical locations. So how, prior to working with Kepler Analytics in terms of shopper traffic, how were you measuring that, making decisions based upon it? Can you talk about the previous approach?
Sure. I think I'd probably sum it up. We did a really poor job of it. It basically was a manual process, and the data we got from that was pretty much close to unusable.
So then that kind of leads into the next question around, okay, so you did a poor job with it. What challenges then did that present, that you didn't have usable data?
Well, look, I guess it was as we grew our online business, that began to put into sharp relief the challenges we had in a physical space. Because as you know, online is very rich with data, and you can clearly understand how customers exit your online store, if you want to call it that, what they see, what they look at, what they don't look at, what they put in their basket, and what they leave with. And what we wanted to do, I guess, is or rather the challenge we faced was success was determined at an aggregate level, at a store level. So, how many units did the store sell, whether it was in the home location or whether it was in a promotional location, it was just assessed at an aggregate level, which didn't really give, any opportunity for stores or us as a business to be able to actually optimize our in-store trade. Yep. So that's if you want to call it the nux of the problem we had.
Yeah, and I guess it wouldn't be broken down on to your point, it's being done on an aggregate level, so you can't look at each store on a market by market basis.
Yeah, absolutely. One, generally as large retailers do, they do look at it at the national retail level. But even if we had even with our store data, I should say, again, sort of understanding what our conversion was, where people were stopping their journeys, what our cross-category shopping was. None of that was doable before we partnered with Kepler.
So you identified the problem. You mentioned you partner with Kepler. So maybe talk about the timeline when this was transpiring, and then what about Kepler's solution was attractive to Officeworks?
Sure. Okay. Well, look, I guess in terms of timeline, we started our partnership with them. It was going to be around 2.5-3 years ago. So really early days with Kepler, and I think in the Australian market, we were one of the first adopters of this type of technology. In terms of working with them, the solution is incredibly simple. They do two things. At the very beginning is they show you the veracity of their data. So we did a store count or traffic count the manual way. We compared it to what Kepler had. We could see the correlation. We were really, really very happy. Second component in terms of the hardware, that is delivered and installed in under 6 hours. And is done, not during work hours, so that was very, very convenient for us. And then it was literally sort of setting up the data and how we wanted to use it. Because of their technical infrastructure, we could add additional data sources. So for instance, one of the things we were really keen to do was to understand the specific conversion at a customer level and a product level. So we can now match, or we have been able to match, our sales data, sales transactional data, with the data we get from Kepler. So we literally are treating our stores as websites. So I guess if you want to call it, the what that enabled us to do in store were a number of things. From a merchandising point of view, that helped us understand how best to go about attachment sale. That helped us understand the efficacy or the lack thereof of our promotional efforts. It helped us understand the role of navigation in our store. And then from an operational point of view, it helped us with workforce planning. So lots of really interesting insights around from an operational point of view. For instance, at a key trading period, how many store associates was enough to service a large influx of customers? Because as I'm sure you would know, that the more the general thinking is the more customers you have, the more store associates you need, and we actually found that isn't the case, and it's a case of diminishing returns. Mm-hmm. So like lots of just incredibly rich operational data and analytics that we could use both at a merchandise level and store operational level, and therefore also then from a strategic point of view to help us plan for the longer term.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions in terms of kind of a multi-part question here is, one, who's looking at that data, and then kind of two, how frequently are they looking at it, and then kind of even a third part to that is, okay, you're looking at it, on this level of cadence, how frequently you're making changes based upon the data that you're seeing?
That's a really good question. And there were so many parts that I'm going to have to try and go back to the very beginning and start with your first question. So who's looking at it? It's a variety of different teams. And one thing I should also mention is one of the things I think with retail, as a sort of aside, the importance of data and analytics has just increased at an exponential rate over the last half a dozen years. So one of the things that we've done in parallel is to invest in a data and analytics team. This might be old news in the US, but in Australia, we've just hired our first data scientists a couple of years ago, et cetera, et cetera. So they're obviously prime users of this data. But the key thing is who gets the commercial benefit from this. So it's our so from the merchandise team, we've got this embedded in our visual merchandising team. So all those people who are doing all the planograms and all that type of stuff. So they're the sort of primary client on one side. Then we've got the workforce planning team within the store operations team. They're the other sort of major a client. And then the other one, believe it or not, is the e-commerce team. And it's not so much because this has any impact on e-commerce, is because within the e-commerce team, that culture and that capability around A/B testing is so ingrained, is that we've basically pulled that capability out of that team and we've stuck it into the store world. So that's probably the area where we're most rapid. So literally what we do is we go into tests, which the hypothesis takes about 2 weeks to generate, 2 weeks of testing, and then optimization for a further 2 weeks, and then a sort of a rinse and repeat cycle. Yep. And that's really, really helped us do some really brave things. We're a brand that stocks all the national brands, but we also stock our home brands. And quite often, a merchant will go, well, the lead item needs to be a national brand. But what we've done is we sort of said, well, we can actually test whether that is actually the case. Will we lose sales? Will conversion go down? Et cetera, et cetera. Because, of course, our home brand is going to deliver us a higher margin. Yep. And guess what? We were able to put our home brand up there across 167 stores and drive about an extra 200 basis points in that particular category. So that's pretty compelling and just not capable before our partnership with Kepler.
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue here in terms of the business benefits that you're seeing. You talked about a couple things already, workforce optimization, the merchandising, optimization. If you were going to kind of list out some of the, the key benefits that you've realized in the 2.5 years or so that you've worked with Kepler Analytics, what would those be for you?
Well, look, I guess it's as I sort of said, it's really the sort of the commercial impact of being able to sort of help merchandise team sort of test and learn, both around attachment, positioning, and our actual layouts and flows. It's about being able to sort of benchmark as we go through renewals of different stores and new formats, etc. Being able to have benchmarks in there, and then when we roll something out new, to be able to actually optimize that against what we thought we were going to do. Because as you know, physical stores means that you're going to have to invest a serious amount of capital if you want to make a change, and no one wants to invest that capital and not get the return that they had in their business case. So having Kepler in there gives us that ability to be able to continually optimize to reach those gates, those thresholds that are required. But I think what's actually probably really exciting for us is there's a lot more that we can do with what they have at the moment. But one of the things that, speaking to the team at Kepler yesterday, is really exciting is what they're going to be doing in the future in helping retailers create the business rules that will create triggers within our network. So the whole idea of, each store has a daily budget, for instance. We also have an NPS score, etc. And we know when things aren't working, we know what we need to do. But today it's completely a human interaction. Someone has to be looking at the data somewhere, be giving someone a telephone call, making sure that they listen, etc., etc. The idea that we can set up a trigger which says you're 5% behind budget, these are the 5 things you need to do, that's super exciting. I mean, that's a little way off for us, but that's super exciting if and when we can get to that.
And then for my final question, David, is, and this can be within your relationship with Kepler Analytics or, potentially other tools and technologies that you're looking to integrate into your stores. Moving ahead, we just started a new year. What are some of the things that you're on your roadmap with Officeworks that you're looking to potentially introduce?
Okay, look, Stu, that's we are trying to do, like most retailers, probably too many things in such a short period of time. And it's really difficult to sort of figure out what the number one thing is that's important. I think our key challenge, and the one that we're facing into over the next 12 months, is again at a data level. So it's the interaction of our online customers in store and being able to feed both ways. So, at the moment we understand our online customers really, really well. We can provide them quite tailored offers. It's relatively personalized. We obviously not to the extent that we'd like to be, in store that doesn't exist. So the combination of sort of understanding our customers through Kepler and other technologies in store, and what we do online, being able to merge those two things so that experience becomes so much more personal. So the idea that, if you're a business customer with us, that you walk into our store, we recognize who you are, whether that is through an ecosystem that we create or something as simple as geofencing. Those are the sort of decisions we're trying to get into. But once we understand that, and for instance, through Kepler being able to tag that particular customer and begin to understand the conversion of that particular customer, that's going to be phenomenally powerful.
Great. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank David Pisker of Officeworks for joining me today at NRF. Thanks, David.
Pleasure.
Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. But make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Also, please take the time to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us on the next episode of Total Retail Talks.
Total Retail's sister brand, Women in Retail Leadership Circle, is proud to announce the release of the 2020 Top Women in Retail Report. The 10th annual list features 26 top women honorees representing the leading women executives in retail, as well as 10 Women on the Rise honorees, who are all-star executives primed to become tomorrow's industry leaders. The list features exclusive interviews with all honorees, offering an introspective look at some of the brightest minds in the retail industry. Download your copy of the 2020 Top Women in Retail list today at mytotalretail.com/resources. Women in Retail Leadership Circle members can access the report by logging into their account at womeninretail.com/research.